Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Marshmallow. I call him for short Machi. and I'm going to go over the Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science by Thomas Troward, Chapter 10, Intuition. So let's get right to it. Okay. I wonder why my light keeps stop flashing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, Chapter 10, Intuition. This is a interesting topic because not many teachers on the law of assumption or the law of attraction or manifestation, visualization teach this. And Thomas Troward teaches this in this chapter. And the main idea is this: intuition hits you quickly, so allow it to guide you. Logic distracts you. Memorize the hunch. Remember the hunch. Okay. Like you're going to get ideas thrown to you that are not going to seem logical. And I like the example that he shares in the book. He says, you might get a hunch to not do something, right? Like, for example, maybe there's a girl who shows interest in you and she's gorgeous. It's amazing. Her voice makes your heart flutter. And then you're about to like ask this girl out, or the concept of asking this girl out comes to your mind logically, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna ask this girl out. She likes me, I like her. But then in your heart and your gut, you're like, no, it's no. Like, what? But the obvious sign, it's obvious, but then you feel in your gut, no. So okay, you listen to the gut. That's what he's talking about. So let's start from the beginning. I'm gonna share a few quotes so that we can understand what he's talking about as he taught in the early 1900s. Okay, quote: when we have seen that the subjective mind, the subconscious mind, is amenable to suggestion by the objective mind, but there is also an action of the subjective mind upon the objective. I'm going to repeat that again. We have seen that the subjective mind is amenable to suggestion by the objective mind. The individual's subjective mind, oh, no, I skipped a sentence. But there is also an action of the subjective mind upon the objective mind. And the objective mind is the logical mind. The objective mind is the one where we have our senses. Okay. Our intelligence, our logic, and our physical senses. That's the objective mind. Subjective mind is within and runs on vibration. It runs off of instilled beliefs that allow us to do things on automatic pilot. This is why life is easy. When you get the right ideas instilled in your mind, then the results of what you want, bang. Easy, simple, easy peasy. Next quote. Continuing the quote, it's just one block. Quote: the individual's subjective mind is his own innermost self, and its first care is the maintenance of the individuality of which it is the foundation. And since it is pure spirit, it has its continual existence in the plane of being, where all things subsist in the universal here and everlasting now, in the plane of the ideal, right? In the plane of spirit, of thoughts, non-physicality. Okay, I enter that. Let's continue. And consequently can inform the lower mind of things removed from its ken, either by distance or futurity. Okay. Because the subjective mind is in the place of the everlasting now. There is no time and space. Okay. It knows everything, where it's all life, all intelligence, and infinite power. It can give us information that is not at our disposal, information that we will not receive until the future. So it knows things. Okay. It knows things and it guides us. It warns us because its job is to maintain us. And maintenance is being in a state of being happy, healthy, and safe. Happy, healthy, and safe. Happy, healthy, wealthy, safe, loved. The square of life. Health, wealth, love, happiness. It'll guide us there. Now let's continue on to the next quote. When once we recognize the position of the subjective mind as a supporter of the whole individuality, we cannot doubt that much of what we take to be the spontaneous movement of the objective mind has its origin in the subjective mind, prompting the objective mind in the right direction without our being consciously aware of it. I'm going to repeat that again. When once we recognize the position of the subjective mind as the supporter of the whole individuality, we cannot doubt that much of what we take to be spontaneous movement of the objective mind has its origin in the subjective mind, prompting the objective mind in the right direction without our being conscious aware of it. I'm going to repeat that again. When once we recognize the position of the subjective mind as the supporter of the whole individuality, we cannot doubt that much of what we take to be spontaneous movement of the objective mind has its origin in the subjective mind, prompting the objective mind in the right direction without our being consciously aware of it. So this one's a little hard to understand right here, but he's saying is we think we're doing things objectively, but it's actually our subconscious mind creating these actions. And it's true. Let's take tying a shoe, for example. If we believe we can tie a shoe, we'll tie it. Okay. If we don't believe we can tie a shoe, we will not be able to tie the shoe. But with practice, we end up learning and mechanical adjustments of our hands. We get to do it. But it's all because of the subjective or subconscious mind and the beliefs we have put in it. Let's continue. But at times, when the urgency of the case seems to demand it, or when, for some reason yet unknown, the objective mind is for a while more closely in rapport with the subjective mind, the interior voice is heard strongly and persistently. And when this is the case, we do well to pay heed to it. End quote. That's pretty simple right there. Okay. Very simple. At times we may hear the inner voice. Okay, more clearly and loudly than the other days. So we should listen to that voice. Okay. Now I'm gonna read the last part of this chapter. It's one page. This chapter is one page. It's very important. Okay, because it's what's gonna guide us towards our desires and our goals. Okay, let's get it. Quote: the importance of understanding and following the intuition cannot be exaggerated, but I candidly admit the great practical difficulty of keeping the happy mean between the disregard of the interior voice and allowing ourselves to run away with by groundless fancies. The best guide is the knowledge that comes of personal experience, which gradually leads to the acquisition of a sort of inward sense of touch that enables us to distinguish the true from the false, and which appears to grow with a sincere desire for truth and with the recognition of the Spirit as its source. The only general principles a writer can deduce from his own experience are that when, in spite of all appearances pointing in the direction of a certain line of conduct, there is still a persistent feeling that it should not be followed. In the majority of instances, it will be found that the argument of the objective mind, however correct on the facts objectively known, was deficient from ignorance of facts which could not be objectively known at the time, but which were known to the intuitive faculty. Another principle is that our very first impression of feeling on any subject is generally correct. Before the objective mind has begun to argue on the subject, it is like the surface of a smooth lake, which clearly reflects the light from above. But as soon as it begins to argue from outside appearances, these allow these also throw their reflections upon its surface, so that the original image becomes blurred and is no longer recognizable. This first conception is very speedily lost, and it should therefore be carefully observed and registered in the memory with a view to testing the various arguments which will subsequently arise on the objective plane. It is, however, impossible to reduce so interior an action as that of the intuition to the form of hard and fast rules, and beyond carefully noting particular cases as they occur, probably the best plan for the student will be to include the whole subject of intuition in the general principle of the law of attraction, especially if he sees how this law interacts with the personal quality of universal spirit, of which we have already spoken. He says to think of the intuition as part of the law of attraction. These hunches will come to you to guide you towards your manifestation. Okay. And it's working with the universal mind. Okay. It's working towards the expansion, the growth, the evolution of yourself and everyone else. Just keep those things in mind, and you shouldn't be too concerned of how to use the intuition. It's more of a attraction based faculty. It's like a superpower, okay, that you have that comes to you at times. It's like, what's it called? Precognition, like having knowing what to do without logically having like data for it, right? Say for example, you want to buy a hat, right? And you find the hat that you want to buy. And you go up to a man who's selling it on the street and says, "Man, I'll give you this to you for $5." You're like, "Man, $5? This hat is worth 50." And then your stomach or your heart tells you, "No, don't do it." Okay, so you're like, "No, you know what? I'm not gonna do it." Like, it's the hat you want though. It's not expensive, $5. And then all of a sudden, the cops pull up, arrest this man, and there's a guy coming out of the cop car, and he doesn't have a hat, and he goes and gets the hat. Like, yeah, this is my hat, and he shows the cops, this is my hat, and he puts it on, and then the guy goes to jail. Imagine if you would have had that hat in your hand. You might be going to jail for that night, although you didn't do anything. They had to figure out what was going on. They had to confirm that you weren't part of that process. And then you keep walking and you find a store, right? And it says 50% off. So the hat's $25. And you walk in there and you feel relief, like you feel like you're on cloud nine, like you're in heaven. You know, getting 50% off. You know, you're at the store, and you get the hat, that particular hat that you wanted. Maybe it had a specific design and color on it, so you know it wasn't sold anywhere. You know, you had to really like go out and look for it, manifest it, and you got it. That's the intuitive faculty. Now, if you were just thinking about it logically and not really having this like understanding of what's connected to truth, what's connected to the universe, which is, I have it right here. I have it here stitched. Life, love, and beauty, right? Life is for more for people. That was not for more for people because that was stolen. This I'm making this up. Okay, I'm making this story up. It was stolen, so it took something from somebody. So it's not love because the universe wants us to have more beauty. Maybe the hat was beautiful, but it didn't have the other aspects of it. Okay, a lot of times I find this with women because I think women are very very beautiful. I think they're the epitome of beauty, second to like looking at a nebula or a galaxy. Okay, if not just at the same, and they could be very mean. They could be very very disrespectful. Yeah, this woman is beautiful, but she disrespects you, calls you names, brings you down. That's not love. That's not pushing you for more. You know, that's not growth. Remember, the universal mind, the universe, the spirit is for the development of the race, of the human race, of any species. Okay, it's a supporter, just like we said in the beginning of this chapter and what we read. The subjective mind, the universal mind, is the supporter of the individual and the race, whatever race it is, whatever species it is. It's always for more. Okay, the next book we're gonna go over is gonna be the Dory lectures. I think that's the next book in here because I have the collection of the books, the Dory lectures, and it goes over that. It goes over the growth and expansion. um, so yeah, listen to your intuition. The first thing that comes up is usually the right one. Okay, and yeah, we're gonna wrap it up for this one. This is part of the law of attraction. So when you have selected what you desired, created a scene, okay, that shows that you've accomplished it, you have it. Remember the apple example. See yourself, if you want an apple, see yourself in your imagination biting on the apple, or you already have it, you're on the table, you're gonna eat it next, or maybe somebody already told you, hey man, hey, that how was that apple that you ate? It was really delicious, man, it was so good. you know let's even let's up it up a notch. It was one of those candied apples with the nuts on it. Hey, how was that candied apple? It was good, man, it was good. It already happened, I already accomplished it. You're not looking at it through a window. You're like, oh, I want that apple because it's a different vibe. You're wanting the other one, you have it. See yourself with what you desire. Okay. And now that you have that, let it go, right? Open your eyes, come back to the physical plane, the 3D. And then as you're walking through the 3D, you already have it. And then you listen to the hunches. Listen, feel the hunches or listen to them. You're here, like, walk this way. Let's say, for example, you usually walk a certain direction to go um, to your certain machine. Maybe you're at the gym. Usually walk to the right. Something tells you, like, just go around this way. Okay, I'm gonna go around this way. You go around this way, and then you manifest whatever it is. You find something that you've been wanting to manifest. Okay, just an example of when the tuition guides you. Okay, and yeah, this is it. If you want me to help you, I have a link below, a Calendly link. I have a program to help you manifest. This 3-step program, very simple. Know what you want. Okay, I'll help you clarify what you want, and then help you see yourself with it. Okay, that's the only steps you need to take. The other step is allow the universe. Okay, the allowing of the universe to bring it to you. So right here, you have to stay in a positive vibration. I'll give you tools on how to raise your vibration. Okay, because you really have to stay in a positive state. You can't be in a state of doubt, fear, anxiety, anger. Thomas Troward tells us the same thing. Be calm and have cheerful expectancy and follow your intuition. I hope you like this one. Make sure to smash the subscribe button, the like button, and comment below if you have any questions. If you want me to do a certain thing, maybe a video more expanding on certain topics, let me know and I'll do that. Till next time, peace.